Chapter 2, Better to Join the Military. 3 crisp $100 bills pried open a path to survival in the form of a pickup truck. As the aroma of hot hamburgers filled the hospital room for the first time, as long-lost warmth became tangible, Kelly told her children, "We are not going back. We are going to find Dad." Meanwhile, far away at the base, Jack Carlson had just slipped another letter as cold as all the others, his last will, into an envelope. He had no idea that the wife and children he'd all but forgotten were about to traverse the winter storms to reach him, and that a fallen military dog tag would set in motion an unexpected twist of fate. Asterisk asterisk thump, thump, thump. Thump, 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 asterisk asterisk. Who the hell is it? At this hour? Old Joe grumbled as he opened the door. He was the only person in town with a still-running used Chevrolet pickup. Not taking long trips at night. Come back, Tom Moore. In her previous life, the original Kelly, after suffering assault and carrying her dying children, had also come to beg old Joe. She'd bruised her forehead from kowtowing, but old Joe hadn't budged. The night roads were dangerous, no money, no ride. This time, Kelly didn't waste a single word. She directly pulled out 3 $100 bills and slapped them against the doorframe. "I need the truck. Now?" In these parts, $300 was enough to cover a family's expenses for over half a month. The moment old Joe saw the green bills, his eyes lit up, and his attitude did a complete 180. "No problem, Where to? Just name it." Seeing the children were sick, he even dug out an old blanket to cover them, a rare gesture. The pickup sped along the bumpy mountain road, Kelly holding her 2 feverish children tight. It was a stormy, snowy night, and the journey was tough. They finally reached the nearest town's community hospital. The doctor immediately administered emergency fever reducers to both children, and began simultaneous treatment and tests. Fortunately, they'd arrived in time, and no severe pneumonia had developed. With 4 drips started, they endured the long night. The next morning, the children's fevers finally broke, and they regained consciousness. Their condition was better than expected. Kelly's heart, which had been in her throat, finally settled. Looking at the 2 still pale, frail, pitiful-looking children, her heart ached. With money in her pocket, she went to the hospital cafeteria and bought steaming hot hamburgers and milk. The smell of meat made the children swallow hard. They might not have gotten a hamburger even on New Year's. But neither child reached for the food. They just stared at Kelly with those big, cautious eyes, their timid obedience heartbreaking. Kelly placed the hamburgers in their small hands. "Eat up. With Mommy here, we'll eat delicious food from now on." Little sister Emma, with no guile, drooled at the words, but still tremblingly raised her tiny hands, trying to offer the hamburger to Kelly's mouth. "Mommy eats first." Older brother Benjamin was more thoughtful, his little face tense, eyes filled with worry and lingering fear. "Mommy, where did we get the money for the hospital? And for hamburgers? Did Grandma and Grandpa give it? You spent too much, and they'll beat you when we go back, won't they?" "Mommy, we are not hungry." Kelly paused, instinctively looking at her son. Though awake, the child was still terribly thin. Years of outdoor work had tanned his skin and cracked his lips, but the eyes looking up at her were big, bright, and brimming with anxiety. Hearing this, her sister beside her froze, the hamburger trembling in her small hand, and tears began to patter down. "Mommy, I won't eat either." Kelly's heart clenched. Children of the poor grow up fast. This premature maturity in the 2 children was clearly forged in the crucible of relentless hardship and deprivation. Even trying so hard to survive, in the original story, they hadn't escaped their fate, frozen to death, dead from illness. Kelly quickly took her daughter's hand, guiding the hamburger to her lips. "We are not going back. Mommy's taking you to find Daddy." The two children had never seen Jack Carlson since birth, but they knew Daddy was a soldier. Though they never spoke of him, whenever they saw someone in uniform, their eyes would shine with deep yearning and longing. Sure enough. Hearing this, both children froze. The next second, they stared at her in disbelief. Really? But, didn't Daddy not like them? Grandma always said Daddy hated them, that's why he never came to see them, only sending a little money each month, barely enough for canned food. They had never been full. Kelly hesitated, thinking of Jack Carlson from the book, and couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Actually, when she'd picked the lock and taken the money, she'd already had a plan. That home was definitely not livable anymore. As for her own parents' place, people who would sell their own daughter like a piece of goods couldn't be any better. After much thought, joining him at the military base seemed the best option. The original Kelly had been deceived by her in-laws into thinking Jack only sent that pittance for living expenses. But she, as the reader, knew what Jack sent was his *** entire military allowance ***. Jack was a supporting character in the book, but he wasn't a bad person. On the contrary, he was a man of feeling, loyalty, and great responsibility. Ever since Billy was born, he, as the adopted son, had never been treated well again, almost losing even his chance to enlist in the army. Including his marriage to the original Kelly, it was all a scheme by the Carlson family, a way to secure an heir, so they could continue to demand money from him, to suck his blood. He was fully aware of all this, yet he still sent money and supplies every month. Kelly felt that if she went to him now, he wouldn't abandon them, a mother and her two children. Even if he didn't care for her, he would at least look after the children. After all, suddenly finding herself in this unfamiliar era, a woman with nothing, trying to live safely with two children while evading persecution from both her husband's and her own family, that was simply too difficult. It's just. These two children were just recovering from a serious illness, and needed at least 3 more days of hospital observation. The Carlson family would probably discover their disappearance very soon. What if they came looking? At the same time, inside a military base, Jack Carlson had just received his mission briefing, submitted his last letter, as per routine, and was checking his gear. The company commander walked over and clapped him on the shoulder. This mission carries high risk. The letter you handed in, how is it still the same old 2 lines? Won't you say a bit more to your family? A barely perceptible ripple passed over the man's stern face, quickly smoothing back into calm. If I'm killed in action, send the death benefits to the Carlson family. Inter my remains in the National Cemetery. The same answer as always. The commander sighed. Carlson, your kids are 4 years old. Even if you've seen them little and the bond is thin, they are still your own flesh and blood. Your wife has it hard, taking care of the old and young alone. Won't you leave a few words for them? Unbidden, a fragment from his wedding night flashed through Jack's mind. His ears felt inexplicably warm, followed immediately by self-annoyance. Why was he thinking of that again? That woman, just like his adoptive parents, was only after money. As long as the money arrived, she wouldn't care whether he lived or died. Unnecessary. He saluted crisply, picked up his gear, and turned to stride toward the assembling helicopter. Back in the hospital room, Kelly spoke softly to the 2 children. How could Daddy not like you? You're his own children. Grandma was lying to us. Daddy wasn't only giving us that little bit for canned food. Look, all this actually wasn't Grandma and Grandpa's at all. It was all from your daddy for us. As she spoke, Kelly pulled the canvas money pouch from her jacket's inner pocket. She tipped it out. Inside was a pile of cash, along with a few military commissary vouchers. The 2 children, leaning over the edge of the hospital bed to look, were stunned. So much money. Can we have yummy hamburgers every day from now on? Little Emma looked like a hungry kitten, her frail hands clutching nervously. Older brother Benjamin still looked somewhat worriedly at Kelly. Really? But? Kelly reached out and gently tapped the tip of his nose. Don't worry, all this is what your daddy sent for us to use. It's just that before, it was all kept by your grandma and grandpa. Mommy found a way to get it back today. So don't be afraid, okay? Hearing this explanation, Benjamin finally relaxed. Okay. So that's how it is. Daddy gave us so much money, so he really didn't dislike us. Little Emma also happily squinted her eyes. I'll help Mommy count. She picked up the money pouch and dumped it out directly. Suddenly, a jade-green military dog tag, along with a scattering of dollar bills and vouchers, clattered onto the white hospital bedsheet.